Today I want to talk about two things that look completely unrelated. One is a pond and the other one a war. Trump's restoration of the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool cost $14.5 million. And it was given to a company without competitive bidding, and after Trump had initially said it would be slightly above $1.5 million. That is a near tenfold increase that completely lacked any transparency. Workers painted the bottom in a patriotic-sounding American flag blue, and within days the water turned green again. So they decided to pour hydrogen peroxide from retail bottles into the water to fight the algae. And the result is that the algae are still there, but not the paint. It is now peeling off in large sheets. And anyone who has ever kept a garden pond knows that still water in summer turns green. This is not a mystery. Washington was built in a swamp. I just looked up the numbers and estimated that the cost of the reflective pond restoration equals about 20 minutes of warfare with Iran. So keep this in mind and let's scale this story of the mismanagement of the ponds up and move to the Iran war. Trump started the Iran war to topple the regime, destroy the nuclear program, and to prove that American power has no limits. The regime survived. It's actually now more hardline than it was before. The nuclear stockpile is intact and the UN weapon inspectors have had no access for over a year. Trump traded $300 million, the American reputation, and his tight grip on the regime's economy and its nuclear ambitions for the vague promise of 60 days of negotiations without the effective use of its military might that it had thus far and already proved ineffective. So that's the art of the deal. Now yesterday, Vance held a press conference to call this a win, and the New York Times examined his main claims and one by one found them either vague or aspirational, and in several cases simply wrong. Trump told Axios he has not learned any lessons about the limits of American power. I know they are there, he said, but there are no limits. I don't get it, but he doesn't seem to get it either. The restoration of the reflective pond was meant to distract from this disastrous Iran adventure. Here in the capital of the United States, under the eyes of the world's media, Trump would take a tiny building project, and that should have been handled by somebody at far more junior level than the President of the United States, to show his real estate managerial genius. And it was Iran all over again. It was non-transparent, it was expensive, it was breaking the rules, and it was resulting in an outcome that was far worse than where he started. And it was paid by American taxpayers. But before I go, this is my real message for today. While Trump struggled for 40 seconds to clasp a Medal of Honor around a veteran's neck, Chicago was dancing. The Obama Presidential Center opened on Thursday, and 3 former presidents attended. Angela Merkel was there. Bruce Springsteen performed. Stevie Wonder closed the evening with Higher Ground, and the entire audience was on its feet. Michelle Obama spoke about 8 years in the crucible and what it takes not to melt, but also not to harden. Barack Obama spoke about democracy and allegiance to the Constitution, not to a person. And none of them ever mentioned Trump. And in New York, the mayor gave a basketball parade speech that became something much larger. Zohran Mamdani told a crowd of thousands that the Knicks at a certain moment faced a 0.4% chance of winning. And he said, that is not a reason to quit. He said, that's actually a head start, right? So the pond, the deal, the press conference about the pond and the deal, and then the Chicago dancing. It's the past and it's the possible side by side on the same June day. And I actually think there's hope. I saw it in Chicago. I saw it in New York. So I wish you all a wonderful weekend.